Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this episode 3808 AN. Today's date is December 31st, 2025. The title of the episode is Canada Can't Find Trade Partners. EU Moves Towards Central Bank Digital Currency. Trump's Economy Will Rule. Let's talk about how to protect ourselves online. Patriots 40 and up who have Gmail, listen up. Weeks ago, the biggest email hack ever just leaked over 183 million passwords. Yours most likely is out there right now, handed to hackers who steal your social security number, bank details, even your name to drain your accounts or rack up debt in your name. That's identity theft. Crooks pretending to be you, wrecking your credit, your savings, your life while you fight to prove it's not you. But here's your fix. Virtual Shield Identity Protection. Just easily sign up and it scans the dark web daily for leaked info. Blast alerts to your phone if something's fishy, like that Gmail breach popping up. If thieves strike, up to $5 million insurance can help cover lost wages, legal fees, stolen money. Plus, 24/7 U.S. experts handle the calls and clean up. You just relax. It even monitors kids' identities before they know it. This Black Friday, take advantage for only $4.88 a month, the cheapest full shield around. Grab it at virtualshield.com/X22. That's virtualshield.com/X22. No more waiting. Your family's future depends on it. Eyes wide, defenses up, X22 out. Or just click the link in the description. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Central Bank, the World Economic Forum, you can see the direction that they're moving in, and that is very, very clear. They're moving in the direction of the Green New Scam. They're moving in the direction of the Great Reset, the central bank digital currency. And when you look at Trump and the Patriots, what are they doing? They're doing the actual opposite. Trump is now implementing a parallel economic system, creating the tariff system, and actually doing everything the opposite of what the central bank system is doing. And in the end, you're going to find out that the economy that Trump is building right now is going to be not just 10 times, not just 100 times, but 1,000 times stronger than the central bank system that they're trying to create. Because remember, the Green New Scam makes electricity costs move up. They don't have the energy to produce. They want to control the currency. They want it centralized. They want to control the interest rates. And when you control everything, your economy doesn't flourish. And I think the people of all the countries around the world, they're starting to realize this, because when people start to look at the United States and they see what Trump is doing here compared to Europe, which we'll be getting to in a sec, they're going to see a very, very big difference. They're going to see an economy that is benefiting the people here in the United States. And when you look at the EU, you're going to see high electricity costs. You're going to see job loss all over the place. And you're going to see censorship. You're going to see the control of currency. You're going to see people's accounts being shut down. That's what people are going to witness in these other countries. It's almost like when you go back to COVID and you look at Australia, New Zealand, the EU, UK, and they all started to implement the vaccine passport. People couldn't go to certain places. People were sent to camps. And the U.S., well, we were doing the opposite, because the Constitution protected us from the Biden administration, from the dictators in this country. And as time went on, what happened? Do we all go to the vaccine passport? Do we all fall in line with what the EU, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, the World Economic Forum wanted us to do? No, we went the way of the Constitution. That's the way the world moves. And when you talk about the economy, well, everybody has this in common. Everyone wants to make a good living. Everyone doesn't want inflation. Everyone doesn't want high interest rates. Everybody wants low fuel prices. And everyone wants to make sure that they have a job where they can support their family. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter what religion you are. That's what people want. And what you're going to see is that as Trump continually builds the economic system in this country, the people are going to get it. And the other countries, not so much. And you can see already out in Canada, Prime Minister Mark Carney is having a very, very difficult time, because since Trump placed tariffs on Canada, and he knows that Trump is going to basically dissolve the USMCA, and he realizes that time is ticking down right now, and Canada needs to find some type of trading partner, because once again, they're not trading with the U.S. at this point, because again, they're following what? They're following the Green New Scam. They're following the central bank digital currency. And now Canada is in a very strange position. Now, it's very, very different than Mexico because Canada's entire economic system is based around the Great Reset, the Green New Scam. Mexico pretty much is not the same way, doing it the same way. And you have to remember, at least 3/4 of the economic production is tied to exports into the U.S., with the USMCA likely to be dissolved in favor of bilateral trade agreement. Canada now has to find other markets for its products or lower all the trade barriers currently in place. Carney already looked toward Europe, but that is a closed trade bloc difficult to engage. Carney has looked to Southeast Asia, but that is an export-driven market and with limited capabilities to import costly Western products. Carney has looked at Japan and China, but on a scale, there's little to be gained. So Canada, where do they send their products? To the U.S., and now they're starting to realize they have no place to go. There's no market for them. And soon they will be the 51st state. No, soon they're going to have to do what Trump wants. They're going to have to basically fall in line. And this is going to be devastating for Canada because once again, without the U.S., they really can't function. And I think the people of Canada and the people of the U.S. are going to find this out very, very shortly, just like every other nation around the world who tried to battle against Trump and the tariff system. If you notice, every single one of the countries folded to the U.S. Every single one of the countries they tried to fight, but they all failed in the end. The same thing's going to happen to Canada right now. It's just a matter of time. And without the U.S., Canada is in a very, very difficult position because, again, they can't push the Green New Scam. They can't go into the Great Reset because their economic system will completely and utterly collapse. Without the globalist system, the way they set it up, Canada, the EU, and many other nations, they don't have a chance. And Trump now is scrapping the windmills, the solar panels. He's scrapping it all because he realizes that this is one gigantic disaster. And he's doing the same thing that the deep state has done, the central bank has done, when oil companies or nuclear power companies say, hey, we would like to set up shop here. They bring in the environment and say, look, it's hurting the tiny fish. Oh, look, the turtles can't cross the road. And now Trump is out there, and he put this out on Truth, showing that these windmills, they are now basically killing. Now, we've all seen the headlines that talk about Ozempic and similar miracle weight loss shots. But what most people don't realize is this. A major analysis just found out that people who stop taking these weight loss injections gain nearly all their weight back within a year. That's the catch. These drugs only work while you're on them. They're expensive, and the moment you stop, your body fights back. This is why I like BioTrust GLP-1 Elevate. And everyone is obsessed with the weight management results I've seen with it. It helps my body naturally trigger the same hunger-controlling, craving-reducing signals that Ozempic would, but without needles, prescriptions, or the scary side effects. It also promotes fullness, helps reduce hunger hormones, supports fat loss instead of muscle loss, and helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels. For a limited time, you can grab a bag of BioTrust GLP-1 Elevate for 40% off only at trimwithx22.com. Plus, you'll also receive a 60-day satisfaction guarantee and free express shipping on subscriptions. Once again, go to trimwithx22.com to get this deal now, or just click the link in the description. Birds, bald eagles, you name it. It's an environmental disaster. And the question is, where are all these same environmentalists? Where are they? How come they're not here protesting the windmills? How come they're not protesting the solar panels? How come they're not doing anything? Because when you really look at it, you can see, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, they estimate wind turbines cause about 140,000 to 679,000 bird deaths annually in the U.S., with a 2024 biological conservation study reporting golden eagles fatalities rising to 270 from 110 in 2013 due to increased turbine installation. A 2025 Trump administration initiative aims to enforce 1 million fines per bald eagle death. And this is going to put the wind turbine companies completely and utterly out of business. And once again, you could see that there are no environmentalists because the whole thing is one gigantic scam. Basically, all they do is they try to stop progress. They try to stop the real energy. They try to stop everything, and they do it for themselves, and they bring these people out into the public realm to make you think that, hey, we got to save this small fish. And this is what California did when they said, hey, we don't want to release the waters. We don't want to do all these things because we need to save the fish. That's what we have to do. But again, they're not really very concerned about bird deaths or the bald eagles that are dying right now, which is very, very interesting. But when you look at the economic system in this country right now, you could see Trump, everything that he's putting together, everything that he's doing, everything that he's reversing, it is now really benefiting the people. And initial jobless claims, they are at record lows right now, which is absolutely unbelievable. The number of Americans filing for jobless claims for the first time plummeted last week to 199,000, the lowest since Thanksgiving week plunge, and pretty much the lowest since the sub 200,000 levels, and are rare and go back to 1969 lows, which is absolutely amazing. And I do believe we're going to see a lot more of this. Now, we might see a little bit of fluctuations on the unemployment statistics unless Trump and his team fix how they do this. And you have to remember those individuals that are losing their jobs in the government, and we see the private sector getting jobs, well, you're going to see that there might be some jobs that are lost. Plus, those people that have been on the sidelines who are now looking for jobs because there are jobs, they are counted as being unemployed. Before, when they were on the sidelines, they were no longer counted. So you might see fluctuations in the unemployment numbers. But again, you have to remember this was all designed to keep the illusion alive and make you think that the central bank was doing a fantastic job. And we can see all that now is falling apart. And the fake news, they're out there trying to convince people that the economic system that Trump is building right now is not that great. But behind the cameras, they're admitting that the economy is fantastic. Amuse put this out and said, Democrats tell cameras the economy is failing, but admit behind closed doors it's roaring. Inflation at 2.7%, GDP plus 4.3%, mortgage rates falling, and tariff revenue soaring. Democrat leaders are planning a government shutdown in January in hopes of derailing the economy to give them a shot at winning the midterm. So they're going to do the same thing they did once before, and they're hoping if they shut down the economic system, well, they're able to bring the economic system down. But do you think this is really going to work? Absolutely not. And I think in the end, Trump and team, they have to force the rhinos to get rid of the filibuster and actually shut down the Democrats once and for all. But let's see how this all plays out. That's going to be very, very interesting. But we could see that the deep state players, the central bankers, they're pushing full steam ahead with their Green New Scam, the Great Reset, the central bank digital currency. And we could see out in the EU, what are they doing? Well, the EU says it will introduce a digital payments infrastructure to replace Visa, MasterCard, and Apple and Google Pay. It will have zero fees and be 100% European only. So what does that really mean? It means that the central bankers in Europe, they're moving into the central bank digital currency, just like they moved into the vaccine passport. And which means they're no longer going to control everything via the banks, via the credit cards, via Apple and Google Pay. They will centralize the control over everything. And once they have control, they can shut people down for any reason. If they don't like you speaking politically, well, and you're not for the government, you're against the government, well, all of a sudden you can't purchase items. If you decide you wanted to purchase 3 bottles of liquor, well, they'll only let you have 1. If you want to buy the same item 3, 4, 5 times, they'll say, nope, you already have 1. That's good for you. And think about it. They had to start this all off with their hate speech laws because, once again, that goes in line with the central bank digital currency. It wasn't like, oh, let's just start hate speech and let's see, let's censor people. No, this all goes together. Actually, this was put into place for the central bank digital currency. Cynical Publius explains, let me explain the dangers of government-controlled digital currencies for the benefit of our small-brain European cousins. Suppose you went to the liquor store last week and bought €100 worth of booze using the government-run digital currency on your phone. Today, you went to the liquor store again and tried to buy €100 worth of booze using the government-run digital currency on your phone. But your transaction gets rejected. Why? Because some Eurotrash EU bureaucrat decided that it's unhealthy for you to buy so much liquor in such a short period of time. So you get nothing. And you have no recourse because you have become a serf whose life is at the direct discretion of the government. As an aside, single-payer government-funded healthcare will work in synchronicity with this, deciding what is best for your health. Because, after all, it's not fair that other citizens must pay for your cirrhosis and bad judgment. You have been warned, Europe, And that's absolutely true. And actually, this is going to go far beyond this, because think about it. When you're dependent on the government and everything is controlled by the government, they have you. There's nothing you can do at this point. And this is what they're trying to do here in the U.S. Actually, they tried to do this here in the U.S., but since Trump has been elected, he's been reversing everything. So what are you going to see moving forward? You're going to see the EU and all the EU nations that go along with this. All of a sudden, you're going to see their economy start to implode. Now, there are going to be some nations that are going to say, we're going to break apart. I wouldn't be surprised if Hungary says, we're not cooperating with this. You're going to see Australia, New Zealand, and many of those other countries, you're going to see that their economies start to fall apart. It's almost like when you look back and you watch the vaccine passport, you're going to see the same thing, but it's going to be actually worse because people, they're going to say, hey, this is going to be great. Just like when they created the EU, they thought this was going to be fantastic. But you have to remember who's controlling all of this. These are unelected, installed criminals that they themselves put into place. So you're going to see the economies around the world start to fail. And you're going to see the U.S. economy really start to flourish. And the other nations are going to be looking at the United States, and they're going to watch the United States grow more and more powerful. And the people are going to become freer and freer. And they're going to see the United States move back to a gold standard. I do believe we're going to be going back to the Constitution. This is also going to be intertwined with cryptocurrency. And the people around the world are going to see that the currency here in the United States is very, very strong because we no longer have a central bank that has been restructured into the Treasury. We're no longer borrowing currency. We are now using the currency that is coming into this country, and it's not causing inflation. And the people in this country are no longer being taxed. What do you think is going to happen in the other countries? They're going to be taxed up the wazoo. They have no choice. They can't stop it because once you sign on to the central bank digital currency and the central bank has total control over what you do, what you spend on, what you say, you can't escape it unless the whole entire country revolts, which I do believe will happen in the end because the people are going to look at the United States and say, we want what they have. They have an incredible amount of buying power. They see the golden age. Infrastructure now is being rebuilt. People are starting to see that, wow, this is absolutely incredible. They're not paying taxes. And you're going to see the EU nations, they're going to be taxed up the wazoo. They're going to be taxes for everything. Remember, they're going into the Green New scam. So are there going to be carbon taxes? Absolutely. You won't even pay it. They'll just take it from you. So it's going to be very, very different. And you're going to see that the world now is going to watch the U.S. very, very closely. And in the end, the world is going to shift to what the U.S. is doing, and the people are going to rise up around the world. And again, the central bank digital currency is not going to work. The Green New scam is not going to work. And sometimes you just got to show people the truth. Sometimes those people that believe that, hey, this is the right direction, well, until they experience it, they really don't know. It's almost like when you look at the United States and we were going all green. Well, you could see it very, very clearly now. You see those states, they still have very high fuel prices. Electricity costs are very, very high. And those states that are not following the Green New scam, electricity costs are low, fuel prices are low. And those people that aren't, the states that aren't taxing the way California's taxing, you could see that a lot of jobs, a lot of corporations, manufacturers, they're moving to the states where there's hardly any taxes. So you could see the big difference. So just like here within the United States, you're going to see this with other countries, and the people are going to fight back. The people are going to push back. And in the end, you're going to see everything is about to change. Now, they might have to go through some pain, just like they did with the vaccine passport. But in the end, they're all going to rise up and they're going to say, we've had it. We're done with this. It always happens. If you look throughout history, it's the same pattern over and over and over. And in the end, the central bank system will fail. Trump is going to take down the entire system. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and as always, be prepared. Thanks a lot.